Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Prime Time Local News. Connor Chan and Jasmine King here to bring all the stuff that we have on the go today, including with our question of the day. What's the first album that you ever bought?
Mine was One Direction, Up All Night, probably around like 2011, 2012. I was probably later on, but then I was like getting into like, oh, if I put it on my laptop, then it can go on my iPod and I don't have to pay for it in iTunes.
I like how very specific you were on the date, the year,
I mean,
the
that
album
was a
title.
guess, but I'm pretty sure it was around then.
Yeah, you're pretty much right on there. I mean, I was like that in college, but we'll have all that and much more coming up later on into the show. But right now, let's send over to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Thanks, guys. Well, today we are here at the Legacy Center, where tonight is the Last Laugh Improv Show, and that is being put on by the Lloydminster Composite High School. Now that it'll be going on tonight, and is their last show of the school year. They've been doing them throughout the year, so we're going to talk a little bit about what they do have coming up. They do have some special guests who are actually from the area and are now living in Vancouver, and again with some of the students who this will be maybe their last show ever in high school. So that's all from here. We're going to go back into the studio where Jasmine has a look at your local news.
A Border City man is planning on getting a step ahead of mental illness, and I have more on the steps he's trying to take to change the stigma towards mental illness.
Paul LaBerge is the president of the Let's Walk the Talk, which is a walk from Saskatoon to Lloydminster. It will help people potentially understand what living with a mental illness may be like, and will be taking place August 26th to the 31st. LaBerge says even if you can't walk the whole thing, they still want to be able to have the backing of the community.
Even if you don't want to walk, you don't have to walk the full 279 kilometers. If you want to walk just 1 kilometer, or you want to stand on the side of the road and just show your support, that's exactly what we want.
The biggest reasons LaBerge wanted to do this walk was to not only raise awareness and educate people, while also ending the stigma of talking about your mental health, but in honor of his late father.
I lost my dad with suicide the last August, and after that happened, I just thought, I don't want another family to go through what I've done, went through. A lot of friends, once I got a little bit older and started talking about it a little bit more, it kind of opened my eyes about how many of my friends have mental illness, and we never talk about it ever until I was the first one who brought it up.
They will also be raising some money for local businesses around Lloydminster.
Right now we have a fundraising page on Facebook. Those funds on the Facebook fundraiser page is going towards our expenses to the walk, and every extra money is going to go to Big Brothers Big Sisters and also the Project Sunrise. We want to sponsor a room for people who may not be able to afford to get a bed at the Slimthorpe Center.
Registration is still available if you would like to take part in this walk. To register, email lwtt19@gmail.com. They are taking registrations until the end of the month. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
For the third time in history, a man from here in Lloydminster has been named president of the Electrical Contractors Association of Alberta. Terry Barnett has been the owner of K&L Electric since 2004, and after 33 years in the electrical industry, the Lloydminster native has taken a new step in his career, becoming president of the Electrical Contractors Association of Alberta. After many years involved with the association, Barnett is pleased with the new role and is ready for the task at hand.
Surreal, really. You got 1,500 people or members saying, you know what, I think you're going to do a good job for us as a whole, so I'm going to travel around the province and do my very best.
The association works hand in hand with members of the electrical trade in Alberta, servicing as a voice and tool for the industry.
Is there concerns? Is there something that we can do for you as a contractor or as a member to make your job easier, or do you need more education? Because that's what we are. We're the voice of the electrical industry.
One thing Barnett is hoping to do as president is better help the young members of the trade. Seniors Week continues, keeping the elderly's feet moving and grooving at the Legacy Center with an ice cream social and some square dancing. Grade 2 students from College Park School came to the center to entertain with a performance and some square dancing.
They come every year for our ice cream social. They square dance. They learn how to square dance in school. And we have seniors that square dance here at the Legacy Center. So we have the kids come out and entertain the seniors, and then the seniors do their thing. And then everybody has ice cream.
After the youngsters finished their dancing, they were given a cold, tasty treat. It was the elders' turn to strut their stuff.
It's good for seniors to get out. Yeah. There's a lot of active seniors in the community, and there's lots of seniors that need to get out more. So that's what the Legacy Center is all about, is to get seniors out, have a good time, and socialize.
The center is having their Legacy Supper tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Now we go to our Eric Bay, who was on location earlier today.
Well, we are back here once again talking about the Last Laugh Improv Night that is being put on by Lloyd Comp High School, and I'm joined now by Calissa Milford, who will be a part of the show tonight. So first off, can you talk a little bit about what you guys have done throughout the year, as this is your last show of the year?
Well, we start out in September, and we have like an audition show, and we form our teams, and each team can compete. We've done like the Canadian Improv Games and Nose Bowl and Nail, and just really worked and done workshops and just grown all as improvisers. And then this is a really fun show to do at the end of the year with some professionals, and it just brings everything together, sort of.
And now you did mention off camera, this is your second year of doing the improv. So what's it kind of like, or what made you want to get into maybe that improv rather than actually having your lines given to you?
Well, I enjoy both. I used to watch the shows, and I was like, that looks like so much fun. And then when I came to this school, I decided that it might be fun to try. It's a lot of work, and you sometimes leave feeling bad, but you just get over it and move on.
And now this will be actually your last show that you will take part of with Lloyd Comp. So what have you maybe look back? What's kind of your favorite memories, or what are you maybe looking forward to from this last performance?
Wow. Getting laughs from a crowd is really gratifying. You just sort of feel like you're doing something right. Best memories are just the team, then the friends that you make on the team. Really, like, we're a family.
All right, awesome, perfect. Thank you for joining us, and good luck tonight. We're going to have a little bit more from back here, but first we are going to go back into the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. Taking a look at your current temperature, 19 degrees. We dropped a degree compared to last hour. Still some sun and cloud mix out there right now. Winds dropped down a little bit as well, sitting at 20 kilometers an hour coming in from the northeast. Records this time of year, 26 degrees was our warmest temperature on this day back in 2015, and -2 was the coolest back in 2009. Take a look outside at the satellite radar map, Some showers are expected our way starting late tonight, overnight around the midnight areas, and that'll carry over into the next 24 to 48 hours as well. But we'll showcase go more in-depth to that later on into the show. So 15 right now in Cold Lake, 8 degrees in Athabasca, 7 in Whitecourt, 11 for Edmonton, 15 in Jasper, Rocky Mountain House, 13 for Red Deer, 10 degrees out in Edson as well, 17 in Meadow Lake, 20 degrees for Prince Albert, 16 in Melfort, 25 for Saskatoon, and 24 for North Battleford. Let's take a look at a little more in-depth look to the regional temperatures. So some thunder showers expected overnight North Battleford, the high of 11. Going to 18 degrees tomorrow for the daytime high with a sun and cloud mix and some showers to follow. 7 degrees overnight in Cold Lake. They'll experience some showers as well with possible thunder showers. And it'll get warmer, to 8 degrees tomorrow for the daytime high with showers expected. 9 degrees for us overnight in Lloydminster. We could see a possible thunder showers that'll carry over into tomorrow, with 10 degrees being the daytime high with showers expected throughout most of the day tomorrow. So here's the next 3 days. We are expecting some rain. That rain to continue on to Saturday morning into the early afternoons, and then high of 15 for Sunday, where we should see some sun come back out again. We'll see some decent winds though for tomorrow and Saturday as well. We could see wind gusts reaching close to maybe 30 kilometers an hour for Friday, as well as maybe the same results for Saturday. So it'll feel more like 7 degrees tomorrow with that wind playing a factor for Friday. But that's the first look at your weather. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome back. For 20 years, Norris Ford has been a staple in the Wainwright community. Eric Bay has more in this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Norris Ford, Wainwright's only full-service automotive dealership, started when an opportunity opened up for Tony Norris.
Well, I had a history of being in the car business, and you have to go where opportunity knocks, and opportunity was available in Wainwright, Alberta. So we came here and bought out the dealership. They were for sale, and brought our 4 children with us, and raised our 4 children. Wonderful experience, wonderful community.
Their goal is to make sure people get the same services in a smaller center that they can get in a larger city while providing a great experience.
They'll often go to the bigger centers thinking they're getting something they can't get in Wainwright. We don't believe that. We believe in Wainwright we can provide exactly what they get in the bigger centers, if not more. So our goal is to provide an excellent experience for them in any aspect of the automotive business.
Norris also believes that giving back is important in a smaller community.
It's very important for us that we're part of the community. We're very active in the community. We have a big presence on all community events, sponsorships. We are part of the Wainwright community. We want to give to those that give to us.
You can find more about Norris Ford at their website. And that's this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Business Bio, brought to you by BioClean. Call the Bio Team, 1-833-246-8326. The Disaster Specialists.
Now we'll take a look at your stock market prices for today.
We restore more than just property. We restore hope. When disaster strikes, call the one that can make it right. First General Services, your property restoration experts.
Welcome back. Thanks to the drier weather this spring, farmers are seeding ahead of schedule, with about 99% of crops seeded across Saskatchewan. The lack of rain is now starting to cause problems with soil and crop emergence, as Eric Bay explains in this week's Ag Report.
Dry conditions are now starting to affect soil in the region, drying out the topsoil layer and keeping crops, especially those planted in shallow soil like canola, from germinating.
We're fortunate with some crops that we can seed a little bit deeper and get good germination and good crop emergence and establishment. Where we struggle a little bit are shallow seeded crops, especially canola, where we have to seed them shallow enough that we still get good emergence. But with the top crusty dry layer that we have right now, we've got a lot of seed that has been in the soil up to 3 weeks and still hasn't even germinated yet.
Wind has also combined with the lack of moisture to dry out topsoil even further and cause more problems for canola by creating a favorable environment for flea beetles.
With no rain, the problem is perpetuated with strong gusts of winds nonstop, continually drying out that top layer. Again, back to the flea beetles. When it's windy out, the flea beetles go underneath the leaf of the canola. When they're underneath there, they're more prone to stem feeding. So you can go from 0% damage to 100% damage in a very short order, in a matter of a day or two.
While some crops may not be emerging yet, it's important for farmers to spray their fields on schedule, as unwanted plants could be growing.
One pitfall that growers get into when it's dry, they assume that nothing is growing if the crop isn't advancing. They assume that weeds aren't growing either, but many weeds grow faster than the crops. So it's important to get out and make sure that we're still spraying at the appropriate time to remove the weeds. Right now it's very critical that especially peas get sprayed.
The next week will be critical, with more rain needed to ensure that emerged crops don't begin to regress. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Center. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Center with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
It is a long way for small town Saskatchewan to the Livestock Auctioneer Championship in Tulare, California. Brennan Jack is only 29 years old but has plenty of experience. The competition includes an interview and a live cattle sale, with judging based on rhythm, chant, clarity, and presentation. When he was a youngster in Invermay, Brennan would travel to Kelvington to sell cattle at the local auction mart. After high school, he gained full-time work at Heartland Livestock in Yorkton. Following stints in Regina and Prince Albert, Jack now owns his own company. The winner is to be announced on Saturday night. And now we'll look at your egg prices for today.
Every member of the City Centre Auto Body team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
The Lloydminster Extreme made it 3 in a row last night, dominating the Vermilion Roar 14-2 in front of a lively home crowd. Now the question is, can they remain consistent, facing more pressure? Josh Ryan has more.
After a few early season losses, the Extreme are starting to round into form.
We've kind of just buckled down and figured out that these are the games that we need to win to get into the position that we want for playoffs.
However, becoming a two-time champion remains a work in progress, especially when it comes to generating offense through off-ball motion.
It's just got to be consistent. We had a big stretch there in the second period where we scored a lot, but we didn't really bury it nearly enough.
The team continues to get the bulk of scoring from a few key players like Duncan Knorr and Tyler Merrilees, who are taking responsibility in maximizing every possession.
Focused on getting the ball to the net. If it's either a pass or I just need to buckle down and get the shot and get a kind of a grindy goal, just get in front of the net and get a shot off, because a shot is better than no shot, especially in this sport.
One improvement that was evident was in their transition game, which kept generating plenty of scoring chances while reducing their opponents' opportunities.
Got the ball up quick. There wasn't a lot of chances like for us when they were on offense, so it was good for us to get a real world practice for it.
This weekend, the Extreme hit the road to take on Sherwood Park, who have the second best record in the North. In order to find success, motion in the offense is a must.
They're a big team that likes to be a bully, so we got to outskill them. We're not a very big team anymore, so we're going to have to rely on our speed and skill, and I think we've got the team to do it.
More motion. I think we still need to work on that a lot, but we're getting better as the season is progressing.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local Sports.
Now to our Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here talking about the Last Laugh Improv Night, and Simon Stang, who's the drama teacher at Lloyd Comp, joins me now. So first off, can you talk a little bit about your guys' improv show?
Sure. Improv comedy is really fun to watch. It's very a lot of crowd participation in it, making up scenes off the top of the actors and improvisers' heads. And we've been kind of running this program for quite a while. And the show tonight is going to be a lot of fun. It's always fun when we bring in some experts or some professionals, I guess, to kind of join the kids on stage and coach them through a few games. So, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And now the money from tonight, it is a fundraiser after all. So where does that money kind of go towards?
So, the drama department is like the main recipient. We kind of have one large fund that helps fund our drama club, our improv club, and basically any endeavor that we do is all the funds generated through this show, through the musical, all go back to the drama department, and it all stays here. It helps pay for transportation, accommodation, script royalties, props, set pieces, all that kind of stuff. So it's a huge boost to our program, which doesn't receive a whole pile of funding outside of that. So we kind of fund ourselves a little bit that way.
No, for sure. So obviously fundraising is obviously very important to kind of making sure that this program does stay running. So how can people maybe come out and get out and support tonight?
There's still tickets available at the door, obviously, so they can show up at the door. There's also the tickets are available on eventbrite.ca, so they could go on there if they want to save themselves a few bucks. They could buy them online ahead of time, but there are still a lot left. Just coming out, watch the show. This is the last show kind of the year, but in future years, we do these improv shows every month here at our school. So if you enjoy, if you come out tonight and you really enjoy it, I just encourage them to keep coming back, keep supporting the program, come watch, our musicals, our plays, all that kind of stuff.
All right, awesome, perfect. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a little bit more back from here about the Last Laugh Improv Night, but first we're going to go back into the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. Take a look at some other current temperatures right now. 19s are still across the immediate region here in Lloydminster, Vermilion, and Marway. A little bit colder up north. Pierceland and Bonnyville sitting at 13 degrees. 9 degrees out in Lac La Biche. 12 for Vegreville. 11 out in Edmonton right now. St. Paul sitting at 14 degrees. 15 for Wainwright. 21s in Provost. 23 in Macleod. 24 for North Battleford. 17 in Maidstone. 16 out in St. Walburg. 19 for Meadow Lake. 18 in Green Lake. And 15 for Isle La Crosse. Some other Saskatchewan temperatures. 14s for La Loche and Buffalo Narrows, 13 for La Ronge, 12 degrees out in Flin Flon, 16 in South End, 9 degrees for Wollaston Lake, 12 in Stony Rapids, 8 degrees out in Uranium City, 8 also out in Slave Lake. Fort McMurray sitting at 12 degrees along with High Level. Fort Chipewyan sitting at 10 degrees. Peace River sitting at 14 and Grand Prairie sitting at 6 degrees. Take a look at Southern Alberta, 24 in Medicine Hat, 14 in Calgary, 19 for Coronation, 18 degrees out in Lethbridge, 13 degrees right now for Banff. Take a look at Southern Saskatchewan. 25s in both Kindersley and Swift Current, 28 degrees, in Moose Jaw, 26 in both Yorkton and Regina, 29 degrees out in Estevan. As we take a look at temperatures for tomorrow, we are going to see some rain starting later tonight around midnight. That'll carry over into possibly early Saturday afternoon. So a day of rain is expected over the next 24 to 48 hours. So 10 degrees will be the daytime high though tomorrow, but with the winds that we are going to be expecting, it could feel more like 7 degrees. So 10 degrees in Vermilion and Wainwright as well, 9 degrees in Marwayne, 8 in Bonnyville and Cold Lake, 10 in Pierceland along with St. Walburg, 11 degrees in Meadow Lake and Green Lake, 18 for North Battleford, 13 degrees out in Macklin, 8 degrees for Vegreville tomorrow, 7 in St. Paul and Lac La Biche, 9 degrees out in Edmonton tomorrow. So as I mentioned, rain will start early. So here is the map. So here's Friday at midnight there. It'll stop a bit, and then by 9 a.m. we could see cloud coverage, and then by the afternoon we'll see that 10 to 15 millimeters of rain, and it'll carry over into the Saturdays. You can kind of see as the graph's going on. So Saturday morning we could see some there. It'll probably die out by noon on Saturday, and will go mostly up in northern Saskatchewan by Saturday evening. Let's take a look at the school day forecast tomorrow. The rain's going to start around by the time you head to grab the bus or on your walk to school there. So 10 degrees for the high there for the 8 a.m., 9 degrees at recess and lunch, and then 8 degrees for home time tomorrow for the daytime high there. So here is a look at the next 7 days. 12 degrees on Saturday with those wind gusts we could see reaching possibly over 30 kilometers an hour for both tomorrow and Saturday as well. 15 on Sunday where we could see some more sun come back a little bit there with a high of 15. 19 for Monday with a sun and cloud mix there, as well as same results for Tuesday, but a 55% chance we could get some more showers there. 23 degrees on Wednesday as we start to gradually get warmer. We're with some more sunshine there, and 24 degrees on Thursday to wrap up the 7 days with a low there of 9 on both the Wednesday and Thursday. So pretty decent, pretty cloudy weekend we're expecting, but it'll get nicer by this time next week. Let's look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news after the break.
Now to Eric Bay, who was on location earlier today.
Once again, we are back here talking about the Last Laugh Improv show that will be happening here a little later tonight. And I'm joined by Scott and Jamie. So first off, can you just tell a little bit about what you guys will be doing here tonight at the improv show?
Absolutely. Yeah, Jamie and I are both from Vancouver, British Columbia, where we work as professional actors and improvisers. I'm originally from Lloydminster, so this is my 7th year here for the Last Laugh to help raise money for the LCHS drama department. And tonight it'll be a combination of us performing with the kids. We're here teaching the kids at the school during the day, and then we're doing a show with them tonight where we'll be leading them in games, and then Jamie and I will be joined by an alumni guest coming in from Edmonton to do the last half of the performance.
All right, awesome. And now, Jamie, this is your first time here, but you do have family from North Battleford, kind of know the area a little bit. So what are you kind of looking forward to from tonight's experience?
I'm really just looking forward to seeing what all of the students can do. It's so much fun to work with different energies and just have a really great time. And this guy, we've performed together so much. So it's just fun to be in a place where our heart is, the prairies, and being able to do this with kids that eventually will have a future like ours.
And now you guys do spend a couple days here doing some workshops with the kids. So what's it like being able to kind of teach and share your knowledge with the next generation?
Yeah, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have come back for 7 years in a row. I would have stopped at year 1. So I love giving. I just remember, I see little Scott in the seat, eager to learn the drum and wanting to know what else is out there, and that there's opportunities out there to pursue the arts as a career. So that's what it is for me, giving back, and it's inspiring to be around that energy and working with the kids and teaching. And just as Jamie said, I mean, we learn just as much from them as we teach them. Yeah. And we had lots of laughs the last couple days. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys once again for joining us. We're going to have a little bit more from back here talking about the Last Laugh that is going on tonight. But first, we're going to go back into the studio.
All right, as you can probably tell, we don't have the couch anymore, and it's a little more rustic in the studio. We had some decorations kind of changed up a little bit here. Got
Done
that
with the
bookshelf.
couch, onto the chairs.
Yeah, we got the chairs, we got the bookshelf behind Jasmine, and I was joking earlier that if worst comes to worst, one day we can just read some excerpts from some of those books. There's some really riveting titles behind her, actually.
Yes.
Some of them, like, just as I'm kind of reading there, The Prince of Berlin, The Passions of the Mind, all those bestsellers that we're all used to.
Oh yes, of course, that we all read in high school.
Yeah, I read a book called The Guns of Navarone. I remember falling asleep during that reading study class, but it was like books that were used, so it kind of people would write notes in it, and we'd have tests and essays, and eventually, and I don't know how I passed, but I did.
You didn't even have to study because it was all on those.
It
books.
was, yeah. Those questions were related to that.
Yeah.
But speaking of questions, it's time for the question of the day segment, which is, what was the first album that you bought? A lot of you weighed in on some options here. So I'm probably saying this wrong. Linkin Park's album, it's like Meteora. I don't know if we have some people in our production. Miora, is that how my producer just corrected me in my ear? The Shrek soundtrack was one. That had some real big hits, especially with Smash Mouth and All Star.
Yeah, the second one though, like Shrek 2 soundtrack, like I still listen to it because it has got some good songs on it, and I'm not ashamed that I say that I still listen to that.
It's okay. I listen to Hairspray all the time, like from both the movie and from the live Broadway musical that they had. Guns N' Roses was one. Johnny Cash, Queen. We were talking about Queen earlier today. Horse with Bohemian out, and of course that made me really kind of become more of a bigger fan of Queen as well, with some of those classics that we all saw in the movie. For those that got to see it, Aqua, as we all know who songs they're known famous for.
Yeah. I think my second album that I bought for the first actual hard copy, I went and got Ariana Grande, and I think it was her second album, and I got it at that same Target that I got the One Direction one. So I got both of those from there, and I still have them in my car, and cause I don't have the best car, but the radio with the CDs works perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So I listen to CDs all the time, and they sound pretty good actually.
Yeah, my Seussical CD is a little messed up. It does not work anymore on some songs. But since we're quickly running out of time, we're going to talk about pets of the day because it's our favorite segment here at Primetime Local News. So this is Luna Bella.
Playing with a stick or something.
She's so cute though. Up next we have Coconut, a very well-dressed rabbit.
Yes, a very dapper rabbit.
Very adorable. During the 4-H Expo, this was taken. This is Jeter. I said Jeter in the first hour. I got corrected by 8 people. So this is Jeter.
Also another dapper dog.
He's got something fancy on. Looks good though. Next we have Captain, just chilling in his owner's bicycle basket.
Going for a ride.
He looks like he doesn't want to go for the ride, or he's just you can't tell. He just has that straight face. And lastly, this is the most adorable photo I think I've seen in a while. Baby and Nessie, this small kitten and this big dog.
This might become my new computer background at work. I'm really debating it because this picture is so cute.
It's like a little Milo and Otis, except they actually like each other.
Yeah.
Well, if your pet was shown on today, you're automatically entered to win a Lloydminster Pet Pad gift card, which we're giving away tomorrow.
Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Welcome back to Primetime Local News. Josh Ryan joined here by Michael Radford, the principal of Dorintosh Central School, as we've just been enjoying the ICANN Games, the 20th anniversary of said games, which has had the school much more than filled to capacity, I would say.
Yeah, there's about 350 participants and volunteers here today, 180 approximately students that participate in this event.
And compare that to the population of Dorintosh, it's almost close to doubling the size of the town.
It's pretty close, yeah. And everyone comes out from the community and they all pitch in and help. So everyone's here. If you need anyone, you come look for them at the school today.
And so because it was the 20th anniversary, obviously it's been an influx in students. How challenging has it been, but also fun to experience that many kids? Because normally you get around 130 kids and it's closer to 180.
Yeah, it's there's been some more challenges because we've wanted to do something special for kids and volunteers, like getting T-shirts for the 20th year, as well as swag bags, and locating some grants and some funding and some donations from community to help us deliver those little extra incentives for the event this year. So it's taken a little more time, but it's been well worth it.
Now, just talk a little bit about the impact that the games in themselves have on the school, because as you said, there's a ton of kids that come in, a ton of parents as well. Whether it's the amount of kids that are being serviced, the exposure the school gets, or just the interaction you have with the different people that come in, why is it such a big event for the school?
I think it's a big event because it gives opportunities for students that maybe don't succeed in traditional track and field games, where they can really be successful and have a great time. It's inclusive for all students that would benefit. You don't need a diagnosis. It's for anyone that would benefit from an event like this. But the neat thing is, over the years, it's brought in provincial schools like ourselves, but also has brought in federal schools, so band schools. So there's that relationship building between people from reserve schools and people from the provincial system, and it's kind of morphed into this sharing of relationship, and I think that's a huge part of moving towards reconciliation as well.
And that was even mentioned at the beginning of the ceremonies, where you had the elder come in and say the prayer in Cree. Has that been something that you've seen transformed even in your 2 years here?
Yeah, what we've tried to do in the school is we've tried to transition our culture. Everything we do in this building is through the lens of an Indigenous lens, through the Circle of Courage. So we want to develop students that are able to develop sense of belonging, relationships with others, introduce new skills for mastery of skills, and lead them to independence of those skills. But then after that, we're not done. We need to complete that circle by sharing those skills and the knowledge that they've learned with others. So this fits in perfectly because this is a community event where everyone is building relationships. There's new skills. There's people that have been coming to this event for years that have mastered skills and are sharing their knowledge with others. And we're sharing it with community, with schools throughout the Northwest School Division, as well as MLTC and the tribal schools as well.
Sounds awesome. Sounds like you've already made some strides in building a more productive relationship with the different members of the community.
Furniture supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Back again on Primetime Local News with Dorintosh Principal Michael Radford. Now, we talked a little bit in the last hour about building a better relationship with the Indigenous peoples in the community and completing the circle of reconciliation. Can you talk a little bit more about some of the specific things you've done in that regard?
We developed a program that was started by our students and staff called Culturally Courageous Land-Based Leadership. It's opportunities where we're learning from the land, so land-based education, and in partnership with other schools. So Mr. Sid Fiddler, an elder from Waterhen, which is not far from Dorintosh here, just north of us, has really been our mentor and guide. It guided us through the process of land-based education. And we've built relationships with Waterhen, MLTC, Flying Dust, as well, to share in land-based education activities, and Makwasagagan First Nation School as well. So that's anything from winter netting. We've winter camping, medicine walks. We've gone to where we had fires up in the provincial park and looked at regeneration processes and why it's important that fires come through in order to help the growth of the land. We talk about protocols and Indigenous traditional ways of knowing what living things are versus non-living.
Another focus you were telling me off camera is with treaty education.
Yeah, in Saskatchewan, I found through conversations with elders and with knowledge keepers that there's a little misunderstanding around treaties and what treaties mean for all of us and how we benefit from them. So teaching kids what the treaties, the history of the treaties, what the treaties actually encompass, as well as trying to break down stereotypes around the treaties, because not everyone in Saskatchewan knows the legalities of the treaties and what's actually taken place in our history. And through understanding that, we understand where we can go and how we can build that relationship through that understanding, and maybe sometimes having that empathy for others based on some of their traumatic experiences that have taken place in their families and their history.
What's one of the most common misconceptions or gaps in people's knowledge when it comes to treaties or a specific treaty?
Some of the things that people look at it and go, well, treaty rights, well, we've given them all this money and we've given them, how much more do we need to give? And the reality is the treaties last as long as, the grass grows, the sun shines, the river flows, as well as everything that is below a plow depth was supposed to be shared 50-50. And so that's gas rights, oil rights. That's never been the case. So that money's owed, as well as there was a trust put in when Canada became a country that was supposed to go towards these treaties and these partnerships. And some of that money was actually used, for things to develop roads, to develop the railways. And that trust hasn't been fully repaid back. So these are things we don't understand when, and just trying to present the facts and the history of what's actually taken place to understand where we are now and where we need to go.
You mentioned both staff and students have developed the education program. Is that kind of a sort of new idea of the students themselves sort of playing an active role in building a plan, I guess?
Yeah, in order to create change in our culture, it had to be self-directed by students first. And this was an idea through our culture camp that students went to that kind of ignited this idea, the Circle of Courage. So they have ownership over it. They decide what they want to learn from the land. And then it's our job as teachers to facilitate that and to make the connections to the curriculum. So we use the land to learn the curriculum. Everything's tied to curriculum, ELA, math, our writing, so that everything we do outside is brought back to the classroom for that learning intent. So the whole point of CCLL is to develop a holistic circle of learning that is student self-directed, that they have ownership and develop their own sense of belonging and relationship in our school.
Have you been encouraged then by how active the students have been in that so far, and that despite older generation sort of doubts or complaints about the way we've gone with technology and how they see this new generation of people, that they've embraced this, I guess?
The student sense of belonging that we've seen, it's been so strong of a change that we are in the works of working with the McDowell Foundation to actually measure that through research circles, which are sharing circles, where students get to tell their narrative about how this experience and how they learn has impacted their story, as well as their learning and their sense of belonging in our building. So it's something different that we can kind of measure in a different way that's a more traditional knowledge way, but is as valid as any other way of measurement.
Thank you once again for joining us, Michael. I hope you folks enjoy the rest of the cast.
Back here now once again from the Legacy Center, where tonight is the Last Laugh Improv Show that is put on by the Lloydminster Composite High School. Now they have been doing shows here basically every month throughout the year, but this is now June, so it is their last show of the year. And for many of the students, it may be as well be their last show as they are leaving the program. Now these shows are very important because those ticket sales, it is a fundraiser, and now the money from those sales will go towards the actual drama department. And again, that is so they can afford the props and the costumes, and also maybe some of the script rights and all that sort of stuff. So they will also be having a little bit more as well. They do have some people who are actually from the area who have gone on to Vancouver and become professionals at improv, and they will also be working with the kids throughout the week, maybe showing them a few tips and learning a little bit more. So that's all for now here. We're going to go back into the studio where Connor and Jasmine are going to wrap up tonight's news.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. Take a look at your 7-day forecast one last time here. 10 degrees tomorrow, 12 on Saturday, 15 Sunday, 19 on Monday and Tuesday, 23 on Wednesday, Thursday. We'll see some showers starting at midnight tonight. That'll carry over into early Saturday morning, though. So we'll see a fairly rainy and cloudy weekend, but by the Monday, it should pick up again with the sun as well. So not bad. Not bad for the weekend.
No, I'm guessing that tomorrow when I'm driving home to Edmonton, there's going to be some rain hitting my car, so that's probably what's going to happen.
It probably will be. But that's going to do it for us here today, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great night.